So later on Sunday Fuel, we'll go over the charts for Bitcoin, the technical analysis for how what happened during the week leading up to that, and what I think will happen in the future. But for right now, I just wanted to touch on some of the ramifications that we have for uh, this Trump pump, right?
Okay, well, first of all, say what he said. Like, what's the beginning of the story? What's the thing we just saw?
Yeah. So the big thing here is, let me just pull up the tweet. Sorry, a truth, and I'll tell you, I sent it to Truth Social. Tootswit. All right. I'm sitting around watching the markets, and then you get this God candle that shows up. I'm like, what the heck is going on over here? So I immediately go to Grok
Of course.
to figure out what's going on, and it had no news. But I knew it was something. There had to be something because you don't get a vertical move like that um, out of nowhere.
So, what did you
So
see first? You saw something on Twitter, or you saw
no, I was looking at the charts.
the chart?
I was looking at the charts, and then all of a sudden, a this wick shows up. Well, what happened is that we get this bounce in this image over here. You'll see
Right on your support.
right over here.
Did you predict this bounce?
Well, it was almost always gonna bounce there because that's one of the levels. This level and this level over here, and this level over here. So it was gonna bounce, and so it bounced. And then I was looking at how it was gonna bounce to see if it was gonna pass through or move up, and then it moved like in a straight line up, a straight line up. So then this only happens if there's news. Like there's no other way around it. When you
Right.
get a big move like that, suddenly, just a straight line up on the 5 minute or whatever it is, there's actually news. And so I just kept refreshing Twitter until we got to this. So this shows up, and it's a what does he call them? Truths
I don't know.
from Donald Trump, and it says a U.S. crypto reserve will elevate this critical industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration, which is why my executive order on digital assets directed the Presidential Working Group to move forward on a crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, SOL, and ADA. I will make sure the U.S. is the crypto capital of the world. We are making America great again. So my initial reaction to that was
Was this,
uh, his account got
sir?
hacked.
Yes, sir.
My initial reaction is the account got hacked for two reasons.
Right.
One, it's exactly what I would want him to say.
Right. You got hacked by our Cardanian.
That's right. So when the 9.5 girl asks you out, it's probably a prank. You're probably getting she's all thatted.
Or a prostitute or something. Yeah.
Right.
She's all
The
that. What reference is that?
Freddie Prinze Jr., she's all that.
Okay, who among us has heard about this movie?
Anybody who grew up in the 90s, come on.
All right, all right.
So then I'm just waiting for confirmation. And it's nothing showing up. It's just these bot accounts and these crypto degens like me who are just posting and reposting this idea of
All the
this is
whole
what
time
Trump
I'm
has
on the
said.
phone with you, and you're like, I don't know if this is real. I don't know if this is real.
I
We
don't know if
gotta
it's
find out
real.
if this is real. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about?
Well, the move in the chart indicated to me that this probably is true because you don't necessarily get a move like that if you might get maybe a 1% move or something like that, 2%, 5% really on some news, but it fades really quickly.
Mhm.
When there's millions and millions and millions of dollars on the line across tons of people, generally speaking, this sort of thing doesn't move exactly like that. Plus, we did have a bounce off. This bounce off, which now seems very suspicious to me. This bounce off the lows that we saw over here from this was yesterday or a couple of days ago. This move start up here. I was like, why is it doing that? Like, I get it needs to get to this level, but it's pretty significant. So I thought maybe something was suspicious over there. Maybe someone knew something. Who knows? But in any case, I didn't want to start. I started messaging everybody, right? Messaging, tweeting everyone. I just wanted to make sure that, hey, if anyone wants to pay attention, like now's the time to look at it. But I wanted to wait for the confirmation. So the confirmation came from you go to Truth Social and you're seeing. I've never been in Truth Social before, and I go to Donald Trump's feed just to be like, is this sort of like on brand with everything I was talking about? Absolutely, just this schizophrenic Twitter thread, a social thread that just talks about anything all the time. The tweet before this, an hour beforehand, was something, and afterwards was something crazy. And I was just like, not crazy, just mean like it doesn't read like a regular Twitter account. So I was like, okay, this could be true, and it had all the hallmarks of the capitalization and the throwing Biden in there and all that. But still, I was like, this is perfect. So the other thing I was worried about is that it didn't mention Bitcoin or Ethereum,
Right.
just XRP, Solana, and ADA. So I go, what? Then I jump over to Charles Hoskinson's Twitter, and his video. He has a video up that happened like 13 minutes before this truth got shared, where he was saying that he's sick and he's just going to take the night off. He'll come back tomorrow or whatever it is. I was like, that's weird. I don't have a Zoom meeting with him. Why is he messaging out to everybody? Hey, I'm under the weather. I'm going to be back tomorrow. Um, and then before that, he had that whole tweet about people were reading into the meeting that he had with who knows, some top level person, whatever. So people were reading into the ADA was going to be involved in something big. Um, so I was like, hey, maybe he's just trying to be underground, not say anything, let the price move. He doesn't know what's going to happen, and then we'll see. So then the confirmation tweet comes out for Trump, and he says, "Of course, Bitcoin and Ethereum is part of this too, right? Bitcoin and Ethereum is part of this too. I didn't mean to say I love Bitcoin and Ethereum as well." So then I was like, okay, this is Trump. This is exactly what I would expect.
Is this tweet? Is he saying that U.S. will have ADA and Solana and XRP as part of the reserve assets, just like Bitcoin, Ethereum as well? Like
That's what
the
it looks like.
government is going to buy these coins?
That's right.
No.
That's a crypto strategic reserve. We don't know what the requirements and the details are, but it sounds like he's saying that alongside dollar currencies and gold, crypto will be purchased as a strategic reserve asset.
But specifically Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano.
Exactly.
This is I believed firmly that they were going to do a reserve Bitcoin, right? Reserve asset Bitcoin. Never did I even think they would be purchasing ADA. Never.
Never even occurred to me. I thought it was just going to be regulation around
Right.
altcoins, and we get some clarity on that.
Right. Right.
Um, Especially after the Libra incident with President Malay, where that one belly up so unbelievably fantastically. Right on the heels of Trump and Melania, I was like, this seems just too good to be true. Well, turns out it's true. And so, what we are, so I just wanted to make this clear. This is the point I wanted to make for this video because you want to make money on this stuff, and we do have.
Okay, I want to hear about the make money, but as your editor, I want to make sure we're talking in segments here. So right now, you're starting the Trump pump. That's what we're talking about.
That's right.
Have you said everything you wanted to say about that?
Well, this is the last thing I want to say about that. So, people who are thinking this pump now we're in a bullish regime and it's going to launch. We're going moon, 250,000. Let's get the tattoos. Let's get the t-shirts. I'd hold off on that, right? You still want the levels to be confirmed that that's what's going to be happening.
You sound like
So
Mike right now.
exactly. Well,
Traders Post.
let me show you one thing over here. So previously, this is what I was looking at before. So you have one moment. This was tweeted out February 27th. So this is showing Bitcoin, so leverage Bitcoin on different crypto exchanges and the liquidation map. All right. So this is showing over here, this red is where the current price of Bitcoin is. At the time it was on 80,000. And then to the left is all the long liquidations and the short liquidations. All that means is that there are people who are taking leverage bets. They're not just buying Bitcoin. They're buying a leverage Bitcoin so that let's say they wanted to buy, if you wanted to buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, if you wanted to buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, you could just buy it straight out. But let's say you only wanted to risk $100 worth, right? So you buy $100 worth, but you want to be able to control $1,000 worth. Well, then you're buying 10x Bitcoin,
Right.
which
That's
means
your jam, right?
Exactly, which means that if
Yes.
Bitcoin moves up, you're making profit on it as if you had $1,000 worth of Bitcoin without risking $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. But then it also means the price of Bitcoin can only fall. You could only have a negative position of $100 because that's what you put in before your position gets liquidated. So you
Right.
can only the price could only fall 1/10 of the way that it would normally before you lose everything, right? So
It's a tightrope.
exactly. And so here, people take all kinds of different leverage bets, all the way from 2x leverage, all the way up to like 125x leverage. And these bars, the height of these bars, are measuring the notional value of how much those positions are worth, not the amount that people have put up. I don't believe, not necessarily, but the what the positions are worth. And so what happens here is that as this price moves, let's say it starts to move in this direction, which means up in price, these positions start getting liquidated if they're not managed, right? I mean, at some point, the people who are holding these positions have to cover them. If you open up a short, you have to cover it. If you open up a long, you have to sell it. But especially the short positions. So the idea that this is sort of like rocket fuel, right? As the price moves up over here and this get liquidated, you get these bursts of the price moves up and up as these guys have to liquidate. Now, usually, if it's just a small amount, it's no big deal. But these larger amounts end up being like these just explosions up. So this is the chart as it was a couple of days ago, and this is the chart right now. So as you can see, they got liquidated. They ran through this stuff. All right. So
But wait, they got liquidated when it was going down?
no, when the price went up.
Okay, so the price goes up, they get liquidated. Why?
Well, because like I was giving the example, if they're put down $100 worth to control $1,000 worth, they could only lose $100 worth of that position.
But why are they losing if it's going up? Are you saying they're shorting?
They're shorting.
Oh, sorry, that's the part I missed. So these are all shorts you're talking about. So shorts get liquidated, and that's when the price goes up. Got it.
Exactly. So when you see the price like boom, boom, boom jump up, it's because a bunch of these positions and they get automatically liquidated. It's not some guy who has to make a decision. Boom, boom, the position gets liquidated and has to sell off. And so you get these rise in movements, and you can imagine that happens at one level, the price jumps up, it starts liquidating another chain, and that goes up, and it's just this
S-
domino reaction.
So there's a total wipeout now of these shorts. Then.
If I'm not mistaken, if I go to um, what was this? 1 second. The total amount that was wiped out, if we go to liquidations, over the last 24 hours, $285 million worth have been liquidated on Bitcoin, versus like what you might normally see, something like actually I don't know the normal price, but something around like Ethereum only had. Well, let's go with something else. Well, anyways, I'm not going to be able to give you the historical thing there, but essentially, if you look at the short liquidations, which is 285 million, versus the long liquidations, which is 60 million, you can see that it's a pretty significant difference. This is a rocket fuel up. All right, so why does that matter? It matters because we still have a chunk of shorts that are here. So if the price keeps moving up where we are right now, so take a look at the price. If the price keeps moving up, right now we're at a resistance level. If the price keeps moving up, those guys will be liquidated, and that would bring the price all the way to around, let's say around here, 96,000, let's say, right?
We're close to that now.
Yeah, so 96.4 is exactly the level, exactly the level for where I expect the price to head to if it's going to go there at all. And I don't believe it can go much higher than that because we don't have any more fuel at the top there, and our global liquidity levels are falling. But we'll talk about that on the next episode.
Is
On
that your
Trading View.
signal giving you 96.4?
Correct.
Okay. And so
Yeah.
you're warning that there's going to be a drop, a pullback?
Very well. If I were to bet on anything, and that's what I would bet on, I'd bet on, if you're long right now, get long up until either here where we are right now, or if you want to risk a little bit more, they're like 96.4, 96.5, and then close your long.
Hmm.
If you're levered, now I might be like, well, what if it blows up to the top? I go, I understand that, but the move that we've seen comes from liquidations of these positions, and then some people jumping in, FOMO or whatever. That's not enough to sustain a rally up to 250,000 in Bitcoin.
Right.
That's not happening.
And you would
I'll
have
stake your
expected to
life on
see.
that, by the way.
What's that?
I'll stake your life on that.
Oh, okay.
I
Well,
swear on Peter's life that it's not
so
enough volume.
so on the phone, you when we were watching this, you were saying you would have expected this news to make it go up even further faster. That there's some type of friction.
No, so I was seeing that before the confirmation came of Bitcoin and Ethereum. And when that came, boom, Ethereum took off and Bitcoin took off even more. Because people are wondering, I was even seeing online, people going, what, Bitcoin and Ethereum are not part of this?
Right.
And then you had to quickly tweet out that was the case. And when that happened, boom, now we moved. And it moved all the way up to the level, all the way up to the level to confirm a lower high. Just this downtrend.
Okay. So, and why does that matter to you?
Because if you're levered, you're going to want to cover your position, right? So, for example, let's go back to. So, I still think. Remember, we talked about where the price needs to go. It needs to be pulled one way or another. So, 96.5 was one of these levels that we were always going to get back to at some point. But also, 74,000 is still a level that's calling.
Shut the
And
front
'cause
door.
right. So then you go. So we got down to 88, the level we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, and then the price was trying to go down lower, but it didn't have enough juice to go down. Right. Well, now it does, more frere. This now is the liquidation levels for the longs.
Mm.
So now, if we get this reversal back down and it happens fairly quickly, these guys will get liquidated all the way back down this way, and then we have rocket fuel to the downside. You have the people who regretted getting in; they sell off. You have the levered positions that sell, and it's just millions of dollars worth that rocket down to the downside. I think then that to me, by the way, would be like the most beautiful outcome, the most ironic outcome, because
Because everybody's saying the opposite.
right, and because my signal will have called it, like it would have been
Your
so
magical
wonderful.
signal.
And if we get to 74, I'm not worried about going max long there. I'm not concerned about going all in at 74. I know, who was it? Tom, I forget his name. Tom West. I can't remember his name, but he was saying that his firm was saying 64 or 62,000 on Bitcoin. Um they had eyes on. I don't really care how low it goes,
Right.
because if it goes down, the upside is infinite and the downside is limited. And so I'm fine with it. When price moves up, that's where I want to pull my hair out, because then I go, well, I missed it.
Right.
But here I don't miss it. Anyway, so I
Okay.
wanted to
So
mention that.
I'm expecting that. I haven't done this yet, but I'm expecting when I go on crypto Twitter, Crypto X, Cryptex, and I go onto YouTube, I'm going to see a bunch of influencers going to the moon. You're
To the
here
moon, that's
telling
right.
me
Yeah, they're gonna say
96.4.
right. They're gonna say you can't. You're gonna miss out. This is it. It's what we've been waiting for, and let's launch it. Um, I don't see that happening in any way, because the liquidity, it's not $100 million that's going to move Bitcoin to 250,000. Like, that's not going to be the case, right? Here we had liquidations of 285 million, and then moved us what? What
Right.
was that? A couple of percentage. Actually, I didn't even check. What was the Bitcoin move?
I'm seeing 10%
We
today.
moved up. Yeah, we moved 12%, right? 12% on $280 million. That's not going to get you to. You need a couple billions to get up to 250 or whatever, to what they're talking about.
Why aren't
Plus,
those billions flowing in from the institutions now that they have green light from Trump?
well, just because there's a green light from Trump doesn't mean there's no uncertainty.
Right.
And in any case, the liquidity in the system doesn't come from. It comes from the economic system, the Eurodollar system that generates liquidity. And so we don't have that liquidity now. Like we've talked about the liquidity index, we don't have that liquidity. That liquidity looks like it's coming in April.
Mhm.
That's what it looks like. Oh, there's my tip. Actually, my tip here is that whenever you see these big position ins, right? Whenever you see what people are saying, you want to go check to see the liquidity maps, and you want to go see the option space. You want to see, are people actually positioned in this way? If a lot of people, the majority of people are positioned on the side that you're positioned, you're on the wrong side, because the money comes from the other ones. If they're all on
Right.
your side, it's
Then
too
you're
late.
about to give up your money to the to the ones on
Yeah,
the other
people
side.
think it's a tug of war.
Mm.
If it's more on the other side, then it's just going to be pushed up. No, what happens is that it's the movement of the people that does it, right? The price of an asset is the marginal exchange between the bidder and the asker. And so if everyone bought, there's no one left to buy, then there's nothing left to push the price up. And then eventually some of the people start to sell because they don't want to wait around anymore. They want to lock in profits. That brings the price down. That makes the people who were nervous,
Have
they didn't sell at the highs, sell now, and then you get this down move, and then those people move to the other side of the boat. So when it comes to trading, when it comes to anything like that, you want to be on the side of the boat almost nobody is on, if there's some sort of sense that actually some sort of edge that makes you think that might happen. And so because this whole expectation of liquidity. Everyone in FinTwit now is talking about global liquidity index. You're probably hearing it all the time. Liquidity, liquidity, liquidity. When I was talking about global dollar liquidity with you last year or whatever,
right.
like people were like, "What? What are you talking about?" Um, but now that everyone's talking about that, you got to go. Okay, so then a lot of people are positioned on that side. Isn't most of them? And if it is, then the rise of Bitcoin in the first week of April, like we're seeing, can actually happen because those people are already in it. It would have to happen either later or earlier,
Mhm.
like in a couple of weeks. And so in a couple of weeks, people are like, I'm going to wait till then. And then they start positioning in. And then the price rockets because everyone's like out waiting. Then people are like, oh, and they'll rush into the positions trying to go up. And then you can get the price up to 150,000, 200,000, and so on. And then you get the FOMO and the whole thing. So the lower the price goes, the faster it does it, that causes people to think it's going lower so position, and then you have this discrepancy with the news is exactly the kindling you need to rocket the price up. So pretty fun, pretty interesting, and very happy about that. So the worst case scenario for me is that the price just keeps rising now.
It doesn't sound like it will. It sounds like it's gonna hit local top, and then it's gonna jut down perhaps to 74, which ugh, and then back up. But that
Just
volatility is how you make your money.
that's the way you make money, and that's what you need in order to launch it up.